Hi fellow logicians, welcome to the Logical Christ channel where we evaluate logical argument that would help us apply logic to arguments presented. Now, here's the logical argument we will evaluate. Premise 1, a bad person harms people. Premise 2, Prophet Muhammad harmed people. Conclusion, therefore, Prophet Muhammad is a bad person. Sit back and relax, we will be back after this short intro. Here again the logical argument. Premise 1, a bad person harms people. Premise 2, Prophet Muhammad harmed people. Conclusion, therefore, Prophet Muhammad is a bad person. Premise 1 argument. This premise is generally accepted as a moral principle and a basic standard for what constitutes a good person. Surah An-Nisa 4:36 is a pertinent verse that commands good treatment of neighbors, strongly implying the prohibition of causing them harm. It states, "Worship Allah and associate nothing with Him, and to parents do good, and to relatives, orphans, the needy, the near neighbor, the neighbor farther away, the companion at your side, the traveler, and slaves." Indeed, Allah does not like those who are self-deluding and boastful. Here is a video clip about Muslims being warned not to harm others.
When you're hurting someone, when you're abusing someone, when you're maltreating someone, remember, it's just a debt that shall be paid back in this world before the next. The Almighty will create someone one day to do exactly the same to you. If not, you're going to face the consequences on the day of judgment, which will be even.
Now for premise 2 argument. The earliest surviving biographies of Muhammad, such as Sirat Rasul Allah, describe several instances where he led raids on Meccan trade caravans, picturing him as a theft. Here is a list of these historical raids. The Allah's Caravan Raid. The invasion of Wad Dan or Al-Abwa. The Nakhla Raid. The Battle of Badr. Prophet Muhammad also condoned slavery, as referenced in Surah An-Nisa 4:24-25, Surah An-Nahl 16:71, Surah Al-Ahzab 33:50, Surah Al-Mu'minin 23:5-6, Surah Al-Ma'arij 70:29-30, Surah At-Tawbah 9:60. Furthermore, Prophet Muhammad ordered the assassination of his critics such as Kabi ibn al-Ashraf, Abu Afak, Asma bint Marwan, Nadr ibn al-Harith, Uqba ibn Abi Muwait. Lastly, Prophet Muhammad initiated the massacre of the Banu Qurayza tribe. Here's a video clip of an ex-Muslim discussing harmful actions attributed by Prophet Muhammad.
For example, Muhammad says in Sahih Muslim that he has come to expel the Jews and Christians from the Arabian Peninsula and will not leave any but Muslims. That doesn't sound like the Muhammad I knew, so I said, well, that can't be a reliable tradition. And then another tradition from Sahih Bukhari, which says, I have been ordered to fight people until they testify that there is no God but Allah, and only then will their lives and their property be saved from me. And this is from the most reliable collection of hadith, Sahih Bukhari. And so I said, no, that can't be reliable either. And as you continue, you find Muhammad beheading multiple hundreds of men at the same time. You see him distributing those men's wives and children into slavery. You see him torturing people for money. You see him, all these atrocities within Muhammad's life, and not always in defensive battles by any means, offensively as well. And so, after trying to dismiss many of these traditions, I said, well, let me piece together what's going on here, because if I dismiss all of these violent traditions, then I am basically dismissing the foundations of Islam. This is where I get my picture of Muhammad from. So you start getting the context, and what you find is, in the first 13 years of Muhammad's prophetic career, he lives a peaceful life. He has about 100 followers by the end of that time, not that many. Certainly doesn't have a fighting force. Most of these people are of humble means, and he doesn't fight during that time. But then he's given rule over a city. An entire city gives him the right to be arbiter. From that moment until his death, approximately 9 to 10 years, he personally participates in or deputizes 86 battles.
Right.
So that's an average of 9+ battles a year, and they culminate in intensity until the moment he dies. Chapter 9 of the Quran is the last major chapter of the Quran to have been composed, and it is the most expansively violent. This is the one that starts off by saying this is a disavowal of all the treaties we have with polytheists. Chapter 9, verse 5, slay the infidels wherever you find them, lay siege to them, take them captive. Chapter 9, verse 29, fight the Jews and Christians until they pay you the poll tax and they feel subdued. Why? Chapter 9, verse 33, Islam has been made to prevail over every religion. So, chapter 9 is the most violent. It's the culmination of the Islamic message. It's the marching orders that Muhammad leaves Muslims with.
Based on the very actions of Prophet Muhammad, we can logically conclude that, according to the presented historical evidences, Prophet Muhammad is not a good person. Here is another spin of the same logical argument. Premise 1, in Surah Al-Ahzab 33:21, Muhammad is said to be a good example. Premise 2, Prophet Muhammad did horrid things. Conclusion, therefore, Prophet Muhammad is not a good example. Here's a video by David Wood presenting horrid facts about Muhammad.
The number 5 most disgusting fact about Muhammad is Muhammad had sex with a prepubescent 9-year-old girl. We've been through the passages on Muhammad's relationship with Aisha 100 times, but just in case someone recently arrived here from the Andromeda Galaxy, let's read one. Sahih al-Bukhari 51:33. Narrated Aisha that the Prophet wrote the marriage contract with her when she was 6 years old, and he consummated his marriage when she was 9 years old, and then she remained with him for 9 years, i.e. till his death. The number 4 most disgusting fact about Muhammad, Muhammad encouraged his followers to suck on each other's fingers. Islam is the only religion I'm aware of that promotes finger sucking. Sahih al-Bukhari 54:56. Narrated Ibn Abbas, the Prophet said, when you eat, do not wipe your hands till you have licked it or had it licked by somebody else. Sahih Muslim 52:94. It was narrated that Ibn Abbas said, the Messenger of Allah said, when one of you eats some food, let him not wipe his hand until he has licked it or had it licked. Why did Muhammad want his followers to lick their fingers and to lick each other's fingers? He tells us, Sahih Muslim 5300. It was narrated from Jabir that the Prophet enjoined licking one's fingers and wiping the plate, and he said, you do not know in which part the blessing is. We have the number 3 most disgusting fact about Muhammad, Muhammad swapped spit with little boys. In Bukhari's Al-Adab al-Mufrad 1183 we read, it is related that Abu Hurairah said, I never saw Al-Hasan without my eyes overflowing with tears. That is because the Prophet, may Allah bless him and grant him peace, went out one day and I found him in the mosque. He took my hand and I went along with him. He did not speak to me until we reached the market of Banu Kainuka. He walked around it and looked. Then he left and I left with him until we reached the mosque. He sat down and wrapped himself in his garment. Then he said, where is the little one? Call the little one to me. Hassan came running and jumped into his lap. Then he put his hand in his beard. Then the Prophet, may Allah bless him and grant him peace, opened his mouth and put his tongue in his mouth. Then he said, O Allah, I love him. So love him and the one who loves him. According to another hadith, Musnad Ahmed 16245, Muhammad would suck on the tongues and lips of little boys. But fear not, he also guaranteed that if he sucked on a boy's tongue or lips, that boy's tongue or lips would never be tormented by hellfire. Creepiness factor 1,000,000. Now, if you're wondering whether you should let someone like Muhammad suck on your little boy's tongue, you should probably think carefully about the next fact. The number 2 most disgusting fact about Muhammad, Muhammad would have sex with 9 women and girls but only take 1 bath. Sahih al-Bukhari 5068. Narrated Anas, the Prophet used to go round, have sexual relations with all his wives in one night, and he had 9 wives. Sahih al-Bukhari 52:15, narrated Anas bin Malik, the Prophet used to pass by, have sexual relation with all his wives in one night, and at that time he had 9 wives. So we're clear on the sex with 9 women and girls part, but check out the chapter heading of this hadith. Whoever had sexual intercourse with all his wives and then took 1 bath only. Number 1 most disgusting fact about Muhammad. Muhammad was constantly covered in semen. Yeah, I said it. But don't trust me, trust his child bride, Aisha. Sahih al-Bukhari 232, narrated Aisha, I used to wash the semen off the clothes of the Prophet, and even then I used to notice 1 or more spots on them. Sahih Muslim 669, it was narrated that Aisha said concerning semen, I used to scratch it from the garment of the Messenger of Allah. Sunan Ibn Majah 537, it was narrated that Aisha said, I often scraped it, semen, from the garment of the Messenger of Allah with my hand.
Finally, after our evaluation of the premises, we have a solid logical argument that Premise 1, in Surah Al-Ahzab 33:21, Muhammad is said to be a good example. Premise 2, Prophet Muhammad did horrid things. Conclusion, therefore, Prophet Muhammad is not a good example. What do you think, my fellow logicians? Comment down below.
Thinking with Logical Christ.